Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Gulfstream today. Ron Nicoletti along with Acacia Courtney. It is a beautiful Wednesday afternoon, and there you see the blue skies. We got a fast main track, a firm turf course. Of course, the big news in South Florida right now is the Rainbow Six jackpot guarantee of $800,000.
Yeah, we've got some big money in there. And as we kick off a new week of racing on Wednesday, don't forget we actually have a 6-day racing week this week as next Monday. What holiday is it, Ron?
It is President's Day. I studied that before I said Halloween or something like that. And it's amazing. We have 12 stakes races, and the first post is 12 p.m., and it's all those great races that have all those great, the log swinger, whatever the names of those races are. I forget what they are. But fast main track, firm turf course, besides the Rainbow Six. Well, let's show you what we got to offer for you today. We'll show you our menu that you can bet here, right here. So whatever the name. You can see all we got two pick fives, of course, two pick fours, and we got that guarantee in the Rainbow Six of $800,000 on a Wednesday afternoon. And as I mentioned, two pick fives, and Acacia's got one right now.
I do. We would show you the pick five, as Ron said. Rainbow Six a little bit later. It starts in race 5 today. The cash out of today's early pick 5. No stakes races today, but we do have a good card and a good sequence for you. And we will start it off in race number 1. I've got 3 horses. Early on, money coming to Cats J&J, both Ron and I, in the other Navarro, with Marcial Navarro in La Flamenca, who I think is the speed of that race. 2 deep in race number 2 as well. Couple of scratches throughout the races today, and not a lot of scratches, but enough that maybe might change your picks just a little bit, but we do cash it out in the early pick 5 with a really nice starter allowance race on the turf. Looking forward to that one quite a bit, with some nice horses in there that we'll see. So I've got 3 deep for a $36 play.
Yeah, and that 5th race kicks off the first leg of the Rainbow Six, and that's the same 3 I used on my Rainbow Six ticket. But you're right. I thought the number 7 in here is currently 7-2. We'll see how the board changes. Lots of time before the first race. La Flamenca going back to the turf with the speed, I think, to dictate the pace, and this is sort of a wide open affair. I just think if you got the speed and you got MSCL Jaramillo, that might be a place to go.
I totally agree. I think that this is a horse who ran very well at this level last time out in a race taken off of the turf. So gets back on the grass, but even the turf race a couple of starts back for maiden 25, the end of November, ran a good 3rd, beaten just a neck. 2 starts back, just to really shown a lot of pace that day, and wasn't able to hold on against tougher competition. So I think this is the right spot for this horse. It's a speed play for sure. Not too many turf races, so kind of some dirtied up form, though she is 0 for 8, but I think this is the right spot. And then, as we said, you've got Jorge Navarro in the mix as well with Cats J&J, who is trying the turf for the first time. The dam never went on the turf, but both of the siblings did.
Yeah, responded to the addition of blinkers with an improved outing. That was going a mile on the dirt. You mentioned the connections. Luis Saez dropped to the 16 level, I think, is important too. And you see, I have the 8 Dutchy Dame in 3rd, and you have it in 4th. And the morning line favorite in there was the 2 horse. I don't know if that horse is going to end up the favorite in that spot.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think it is a wide open race. I know ran an okay 4th, 2 starts back against a bit tougher, but I preferred the 2 horses that we had as far as a speed play in particular in here.
Well, race number 2 this afternoon is a 6 furlong claiming event for fillies, 3-year-olds, $12,500 down to $10,500. Did have a scratch on some of the speed in here with the number 3, Ms. Chaplin. I went with the number 9 on top in here, 2 cents worth, who's stepping up to face winners, which is always a big jump up, but just cruised to that almost 9-length victory against 12-5 maidens. It's Ralph Nix, Christian Torres going for 2 in a row, and I think with the scratch of the 7 might help the number 9, 2 cents worth, that much more.
Yeah, I ended up keeping my picks the same because I thought Magic Girl was going to sit a really good trip, who I have on top. But now maybe it might be a case that 2 cents worth just gets comfortable and alone on the front end. But I thought Luis Saez staying aboard after a disappointing race where this filly for Magic Girl, the 8, was stuck in the chasing position last time out. So she gets the blinkers on today and keeps Luis Saez. I thought that was pretty key for this one.
Yeah, that was the first start after the claim by Robert Falcone Jr., so you're expecting improvement this afternoon. And once again, those are the logical, too. We closed it out with the 3 All About Drama, who's dropping to the 12-5 level, followed that 25 maiden score, comes back, chases, fades against 30 claimers. Simple drop. Looks like a good spot here for the apprentice Romero Mirage and like I said, the trainer Carlos David.
And this one does actually have a little bit of speed, so maybe the drop in class will see this filly be more forwardly placed, because last time she was just kind of out-footed early because I think it was just a case of running against too tough.
Well, let's go to race number 3 this afternoon. We're going back to the turf, and if you're just joining us, the turf course is listed as firm. The third race is a 1-mile turf event. Maiden claimers, 3-year-olds, $16,000 down to $14,000, and we're in agreement with our top pick. Plan of attack, free falling today to the $16,000 level.
It is a big drop. In this gelding had actually taken quite a bit of money last time when dropping from special weight to the maiden 50. Got very keen. It was a pretty hot pace there where he ended up actually taking the lead and then just really was not able to sustain that. I think he expended a lot of energy early on in that race. So it's a big drop in class. That was also the first time with blinkers. And sometimes when blinkers go on for the first time, a horse just is not able to kind of control and wrangle that speed. So second time with blinkers on, it is a really big drop, but he just seems to kind of lay over this field, especially with the scratch of B Major, who looks like the wild card in here.
I went with the 5 in second. For all the reasons I have that on Plan of Attack, ridden by Joe Bravo today, and of course trained by the one and only Jimmy Jerkins. I went with Fires in second, is hoping to finally notch that elusive maiden victory after taking a step last time in the right direction when he finished third at this level and distance, but he's running out of excuses.
Yes, he's just starting to do just that. He's 0 for 12 now, but I mean, look, maybe I was tough on him because I don't know about to get the win in here, but you could certainly grab a share in this kind of race, and that was kind of what I was thinking with Dry Land for Kevin Attard, who's had 2 winners at the meet, and both of them have been the incredible Starship Jubilee. She really is fantastic. But I thought that this one, there is actually a bit of turf pedigree in here. The dam was multiple stakes placed in a 3-time turf winner, Apprentice Romero Mirage aboard. So maybe we're going to get this one to be able to grab a piece trying the turf for the first time.
Yeah, and most of the horses after the 12 Plan of Attack, who I thought looked like the logical one, a lot of them drop, and they sort of figure, for those minor awards, near one being Mullenberg, the 7th, dropping to this level. He sort of took the overland route when rallying to finish that wide 4th, and his career turf debut at the 25 level. So maybe the second time over the grass, he'll run better.
Absolutely. He ran really solidly last time out.
Let's go to race number 4. And this one, we're back on the main track. It's a 6-furlong sprint. It's claimers 4 and up. Non-winners of 2 in life. And you went with the number 3 horse in here, who I did not use. I want to hear about this. Congrats. This
is my long shot play of the day. So
trying
to take a little stab with Mike Gates. And I know that it took a while for this gelding to be able to break his maiden. But he'd either been going long on the dirt or being on the turf, and just seemed like he was trying to figure out where this horse wanted to be. And I know it was a muddy track 2 starts back, but I do think that sprinting on the dirt have been his most solid races, and in fact the main track races have been better than the turf ones. So he's got dirtied up form. It was a win 2 starts back, and he picks up Miguel Vasquez, who I think should be a good fit for him, and has ridden some nice horses for Mike Yates, who's definitely had some runners this meet as well, and I thought this one would be a bit of a price.
Yeah, that's going to be a bit of a price and good angles, but you actually had it a little further down on the ticket. I just was, wait, 8-1, I like that. So number 5, Belleville Spring, is dropping to this level of $6,250. First start since he went up. He chased the pace. He finished third behind that repeat winner called Wicked Truth. It was a 16-2 lifetime climber, but here's the catch. It was at Saratoga. So George Weaver has Tyler Gaffleone named the right, but we haven't seen this horse in a while.
Yeah, it's been a while for this horse, and unfortunately he has been clearly a bit fragile, as he was claimed by George in October of 2018. We didn't see him again until Saratoga in August of 2019. So then he's been on the bench since August to now, to February. So there's been a lot of gaps between his races, and he plummets down to the 62.50. On the drop, given his speed, he's the horse to beat. But with those breaks in his form, it's a tough horse to try to trust at what will definitely be a short price.
And that's good that you went and looked for a long shot in the race for all those reasons you mentioned, because this is a bit of a shaky call with the number 5. The number 2, Strike Play, drops to this level on the main track. He disputed swift early fractions last time out. He weakened in that race. He finished 7th. 11 against 2 lifetime claimers, going 5 on the turf. It's Elizabeth Dobles, Rajiv Miraj handling the surface switch. I think this one is part of the pace in the spot.
I would think so, too. And it's been a while since this one has been on a fast main track. 2 wet track races, 2 starts back taken off of the turf that were against tougher, so the drop should help, too.
Well, we're going to take a short break, and we'll come back. We'll show you my Rainbow 6 ticket.
It's the dawn of a new day in racing. All attention is on the safety of the horses from more professionals than ever before. Our eyes are on the prize to gallop past the old era towards a reinvention of our sport. Take your place with us now. This is it. The future of racing is off and running. It's all happening at each of our world-class venues. Our new vision for racing will drive us past the finishing line, heralding a new era for the sport. When betting, avoid the rush and allow First Bet to give you a leg up. Our app uses real-time data to help you make your bets with confidence. Enjoy a new vision for post-race entertainment. From the oval to the stage, the after party, and beyond. We invite you to the future of racing. A first of its kind.
Welcome back to Gulfstream today. Ron and Acacia. And 5th race, of course, is where the Rainbow 6 starts in. So, Acacia, today I stopped at the ATM and I got a little extra money and I got a ticket because it's $800,064.80. I couldn't find any singles today. I went, as I mentioned, the same 3 that you went with in race number 5, 1, 6, and 11. I think Mike's Girl. A lot of people might be thinking of single in that horse in there. I find that the 6th race really interesting. I used the 3 and the 5, Narsdale, or how are you going to say Arsdale, however that horse is pronounced. And then 3 deep in there. And then in race number 9, I just went with 2 horses there, O'Malley and Dreams Are Made, trying to keep it a little bit affordable. 3 deep in the last, 64.80, not 43.20 for me. That's how I want to just take a shot today. I want to try and get some money for Valentine's Day.
That's right. Valentine's Day coming up on Friday. Ron's absolutely right about that. I like it. $800,000 guarantee. Boy, it's been building fast, huh? The Rainbow 6.
It is amazing.
Yeah.
I had to look, take a double check to see $800,000 jackpot guarantee. I think they hit it like 8 cards ago or 9 cards,
it
something
seems
like
like
that.
it hasn't been. Well, they had the mandatory payout the day after Pegasus, and then it was hit right after that, right? And so it's been just building really quickly. Big pools every day. So hopefully you'll try to grab a piece.
Yeah, and as I mentioned, a lot of people are going to be interested in this 5th race. And Mike's Girl is debuting locally for trainer Danny Gargan. Boy, have his horses been running good.
Really been running well. He's batting at about 35% right now. And we'll backtrack up to New York at Aqueduct in the last race for Mike's Girl, where this filly did actually cross the wire first. There she is, the number 10. And we're going to look at the head-on because, unfortunately, she ends up coming out onto a couple of other horses. She was actually just a bit restless the whole time. Here you see in the black cap and the green sleeves of Midwest colors. She ends up just really drifting out and hitting the number 8 there in the yellow cap, coming out a couple of times and thus was disqualified. But all in all, she ran a really, really good race last time out after being a bit restless in the gate, and that was going to make it 2 in a row for her up in New York, but she's been freshened up since November and a couple of next out winners from that race too.
Yeah, I mean, she really had a solid campaign except for that one miscue there where she just drifted out a little bit. So she looks like a logical contender in there. And then I went with the 11 in second. You have it in third. And that's Blame the Gods, who's departing from the outside. Perfect stalking style and jockey needed to sit the trip and score. It's Brian Lynch, Javier Castellano. I think this horse really sits a nice trip, especially if the speed gets a little dicey on the front end.
I think so too, and especially picking up Javier Castellano. I think that that'll be really key for this mare who broke her maiden just 2 starts ago. It took a while. She finally found the right spot and then came back in a solid performance in Starter Allowance Company last time behind Tootsie, who's down to the inside, now second off the claim for Eddie Keneally in a good race last time out back on the turf.
Yeah, she ran great
Yes, she
last
did.
time. She really did. So, I mean, I can understand, like, going 3 deep like we did there, but a lot of people might have that look on Mike's Girl because of just, as I mentioned, that recent form up there in New York. Race number 6 is a 1 mile allowance optional claim of fillies and mares. What they could run for the optional claiming price of $62,500. Small field, but a very interesting field to kick off the late pick 5.
Very interesting for sure. Late pick 5. We'll show you my ticket. I have $36 once again. And I tried to just kind of go. I know it's a small field, but I had 3 horses I really liked in here. Cuddle Kitten is the speed and has been good for Navarro. Lady Kate had a monstrous win last time time out. And Narsdale, the wild card, as you mentioned, we'll talk about that horse in a few minutes. Good starter allowance race in the 7th. I'm 3 deep in there as well. Just using 2 horses in race number 8. Words of Divine, maybe second time off the claim for Steve Claceris, probably the one to beat in there. 9th race, a lot of quality in there as well. You've got Lady Grace and O'Malley for Jason Service, who's got a lot of speed and looks like she should be pretty tough as well. And then we wrap it up with a really nice allowance race. The last race today is great. So looking forward to that one a little bit later on, too, with those older, really accomplished horses.
Yeah, Ballarock's the 12 horse
Yep.
who you have on your ticket is multiple grade 1 stakes play, so it's certainly. But this 6th race, we'll start, even though we're going to show you Lady Kate's great performance last time out. I was just enamored with Narsdale. We were watching this horse the other day. Changing barns now into the Rudolph Brisset barn. The 6-year-old daughter, Medaglia d'Oro, is stretching out to the mile on the main track today. First race, it's finishing second behind a multiple stakes winner called Goldwood. That was in the 5 furlong safely kept at Monmouth. And in front of a horse that came back to win the other day, Liana Susquehanna, who won impressively here on Sunday. Albeit, those were on the turf. But we got to see this horse schooling the other day. And it looked just fantastic. And Rudolph says this horse is doing great. And he looked beautiful. So I'm taking a shot with that horse on top of the ticket.
I like it. No, she really did. I saw her school Sunday as well. She was really very striking and excited to see what we get from her today on the main track, though she will have to deal with the likes of Lady Kate. And we'll just show you that last race just because it was so impressive. It was third off the layoff for her as well for Eddie Keneally. And this was a horse that they clearly had high hopes for after she broke her maiden first time out. She ran in the grade 1 Ashland. She's faced some really great competition for sure. Was coming off of a second in allowance company. And one thing, Ron, she did drift a lot in the late stages. Maybe she just got, sometimes horses are a little bit confused as to what's going on when there's nobody else around them. Rider went right-handed, Jose Ortiz, and she corrected a bit. But, I mean, there was no catching her last time.
And she's perfect, 2 for 2 at Gulfstream Park, so she likes it here, and that is Lady Kate and a logical contender on the ticket. Now the 3 Cuddle Kitten is turning back to the mile today. We set the pace, finished second against this same level last time out as Jorge Navarro. Tyler Gaffleone rationing her speed today. I think if she can sit, if she tries and run early, she might get in trouble. Now, this is a 5-horse field. We spend 10 minutes on it. That's how interesting
It's a really interesting field. It is for sure. You can make a case for a lot of horses, even bold script down to the inside. The one has been facing stakes competition and has John Velasquez up. Bella Chow, another one who's been running in stakes competition. And then Cuddle Kitten, who does have a lot of speed.
A lot of speed in there. So let's go to race number 7 today. Milan is 16th on the turf. It's the starter allowance for 4-year-olds and up. They started for 35,000 or less. Then went a little differently here finally on thing. You're going to start it off in here with the 4 Willing to Speed, who's going to wear blinkers today.
I am. Well, I think that this horse, who was elevated to second last time out through to disqualification, that race did produce 2 next out winners. Armchair Jockey, who's also in this race, was taken down after 2 starts back, just having a lot of traffic as well. But I think the blinkers on for Willing to Speed. This is a horse that's going to get a good trip, I think. Speed Effect has a lot of speed. Joyful Heart does have speed as well. So I'm hoping, and Tangled Web especially to the outside, I'm hoping we get a good pace setup for Willing to Speed.
Well, I did go with Speed Effect, who's stepping up to face winners on the turf after drawing clear to wallop 4 rivals that day in a 50 maiden test, moved from the grass to a mile into 16th on the main track. Boy, Dom Schettino is just having a great meet. He hasn't started many horses. Got Tyler Gaffleone atop this gelded son of Exchange Rate. So a little bit of guesswork there, sort of a speed play for me.
No, absolutely. The race was taken off the turf, as you mentioned, and just really was able to take the full advantage of that for sure. And Wise to Listen, the second place finisher, came back to win as well. Mentioned Armchair Jockey. This horse has just been solid and one of 2 in here for Mike Maker.
Yeah, it's Luis Saez in the irons today, and as you mentioned, finished second in front of Willing to Speed before he was disqualified 2 starts back. Then he comes back and runs second again, so he's right there all the time. Race number 8 this afternoon, 7 furlong sprint. These are Claimers fillies, 3-year-olds, 20,000 down to 18,000. That's his right. And I went with the number 6 horse in here, Amelia Madeline, who's turning back to 7 furlongs after drawing clear to win in hand when facing 25 Claimers. That was going a mile. So I looked up a stat on Rohan Crichton. Horse is going from a route to sprint on the dirt right at Gulfstream. He's 8 for 34, 24%. 53% the money and a monster return of investment of $4.56. So the old turnback move. Looks good for Rohan Crichton.
I like it. That's a great stat for sure. Exerting back a little bit and a good size sample and some really impressive numbers for sure for a barn that does a great job. And this horse has Louis Saez aboard. I did take the number 8, Words of Divine. I know the last race was disappointing, but broke out, was stuck wide, just never really had an easy trip of it last time out. So I'm thinking, and this is actually a former Rohan Crichton horse, so we got a little bit of that theme going on here. But second time with Steve Caceres, keeping Irad Ortiz. Hopefully we're going to get to see a better performance because she was really good prior to that race.
Yeah, she just broke badly, and
Yeah.
basically you put a line through that. And I split it with the one Lady Archer, those 2 horses who were changing barns, going to the Guadalupe Presidio barn after the claim, stretching out to 7/8, posted her 2nd consecutive victory. Now, she going 6 furlongs, but it was at the 16 level, so a little bit of guesswork there.
Yeah, absolutely. But this is a horse that's been in good form. Obviously, you cross out the turf race, and prior to that, she's been in really good form for sure.
Well, race number 9 this afternoon, 5 furlongs on the turf with some allowance, fillies and mares, 4-year-olds, and a really couple of nice races
Yeah.
to end the day. I did go with the 4, and so did you. O'Malley, who's debuting locally for Jason Service, and should take all the money in this spot after posting a trio of sprint victories on the New York turf circuit. Javier Castellano rides. Horse I didn't use and you wanted to show back is Lady Grace, that I might have missed this horse.
Well, I liked Lady Grace's last race, and we'll show you that. That was right here at Gulfstream, and it was off of a roughly 7-month layoff, and she'd been coming out of Stakes Company at Woodbine, came off the bench with John Velasquez, who she's going to keep aboard today. And this was just a classic John Velasquez ride for sure, being able to get between horses, getting the most out of this mount, and it was a big move splitting horses there and just being able to hold off the 8 Sweet Yarandira to the outside, who had taken a lot of money in that race. But a big performance from Lady Grace. If she's able to build off of that, I thought it was a really nice race, and she keeps Johnny B.
Yeah, John Velasquez, that was a
Yeah.
textbook ride
Oh,
right
yeah,
there.
absolutely.
I did go in second. I might have missed that horse. I got to go back. The number 10 horse in Your Dreams Are Made should be primed and ready, I think, to offer more this afternoon after returning from a really extended layoff to run okay, second at this level and distance, a $500,000 daughter of Tappan. We've seen about $40 million worth of Tappets in
Yeah,
the last
seems
4 or
like
5
we
days.
have.
It seems.
Yeah.
Everyone cost 500 or a million or something like that. This one, there's a lot of speed in this race. I
Yep.
think this one sits a nice trap.
It could. Mark Hesse seems to have a nice hand in here between the 7 Lady Grace and this horse Dreams Are Made. Both of them second off a layoff. Both of them nicely bred horses. And this is a very interesting race for sure. I agree with you. I thought that one had a chance. And Magic Fairy, maybe a bit of a wild card. One or only turf race, finally gets to go back on the grass today.
Yeah, she was really a sharp New York bred allowance winner, as you mentioned, up at Aqueduct, going back to the grass. She finished behind that next out stakes winner, Cash Offer, going 6 furlongs on the Big A main track. It's Christophe Clement, Julien Leparoux. So they're keeping it French there, all that going on there with his daughter of Go Zapper. We got one more race, and we promise
You're just trying to make me laugh on air
I
today.
almost got you in the first race, but we still got a whole other
The
day
whole
tomorrow.
day.
Whole day and a whole day again tomorrow. Milan is 16th, the last race on the turf. Allowance optional claimer 4 and up, or the optional tag, a 75,000. As you mentioned, this is a great race.
Yeah, it really is. There's a lot of quality in here, a lot of class for sure. And obviously, the outside post is no picnic, but I mean, you look at this race, and Battle of Rocks just really stands out in here for sure for Bill Mott. Came off of a layoff here at Gulfstream, beaten by just 3/4 of a length, and some nice horses as well last time as well. But as you mentioned, this is a horse that's a Grade 3 winner, is Grade 1 place, just a lot of class. And it seems like, to my mind, it seems like this is the one that really does stand out on paper.
Yeah, and you know what? The outside post hasn't been as big a detriment this meet as it's been in the past. Now, it's 7.5 furlongs, yes, but I'm just saying, I got to go look that up and everything. But I know you had some interest in projected in here. This one should be ready to offer more today.
Yeah, this is another one that's been running in Graded Stakes Company and came off of a layoff and when purchased at the sale by Eddie Keneally and Connections. And we'll show the last race here on December 11th. Gunnison, who's also in this race, does come out of it as well, but did want to highlight Projected, who finished a good second. Jamontier ended up just wiring the field in here. But all in all, off the bench, and you see at this point, just waiting for room, nowhere to go, the 4 with the big white face at this point. finally ends up finding a seam, and there was no catching the wire-to-wire winner this day, but it was a good performance.
Very good performance, and that was back on December 11th. And as you mentioned, Eddie Keneally, and you get in the Hall of Fame, Javier Castellano. Now, the horse you have in second, I added this horse. I had a long shot in here that was scratched out. The number 9, Murad, is stretching out to the mile. He really ran. He ran a good third in the Grade 3 Tropical Turf, and that was his first race for Joe Orsino. And this horse loves this distance.
He does, and he loves Gulfstream, too. He's 2 wins and 2/3 out of 4 starts here over this Gulfstream turf course. He's a graded stakes winner as well. And Guido was involved in that tough pace duel and ended up holding on for second. Tusk came with a big win for Seffi Joseph Jr. that day, but I thought Murad has a lot of quality and is certainly worth taking a look at.
Well, that's how we see the Wednesday card. And we're going to be turning it over to our buddy Pete Aiello in just a couple of moments for all the scratches and changes that you need. The main track is fast, turf course is firm, but Pete's going to tell them all that.
That's right.